I spend over 60% of my waking hours in my home office, which is why it's kind of important that I make it work for me. At the start of the week just gone, things weren't quite how I wanted them, and being the kind of person who just loves to change up a space, I figured it was time to do just that. I wanted a space that felt open and inviting, one where I can not only be productive and get stuff done, but also feel really comfortable and cozy in the space. Of course, that's not the only thing that I was working on during the week. Life still happened and I have other goals to attend to. But in order to see how I got on, let's jump back to Monday morning. Good morning, happy Monday. I am very excited for this week because I have been wanting to rearrange my office since like halfway through our last 3-month challenge, honestly. I think I got to about start to mid-August. I'm like, yeah, this isn't working anymore. We need to do something different. While that is the main project for the week, there is of course other stuff going on, like testing out my new weekly schedule, which means it's currently 7:23 and I'm down in the kitchen ready to get started on my day and have breakfast. I'm just trying to lean into the fact that my body seems to want to get up earlier now. Am I becoming a morning person? No, let's not even put that out there because probably not and I'll jinx it. But for this quarter, I'm really trying to change my weekly schedule in such a way that allows for more goal work at the start of the week, because in quarter 3, it was very much like work heavy at the start of the week, goal heavy at the end of the week. I'd like a little more balance there. Plus it will also just help to space out my goal getting efforts, which I think will be good. The main task in terms of the office for today is really to just take anything that is movable, like all of the stuff on my shelves, and put it somewhere else, just so that then tomorrow I can actually go through and move the furniture. It's a lot harder to move furniture when there's a whole bunch of stuff on top of it. Before we get started with the day, we should probably get started with breakfast. We are having overnight oats. Is anybody surprised? I'm honestly thinking I might just have overnight oats for breakfast for the entire of the quarter because it is a staple, it is easy, and you can change up the toppings and then it makes it a little bit different. I appreciate that I can have different flavors of overnight oats for like each day of the week, but the base structure of it is essentially the same. Having a look at the office though, why is it that I want to rearrange it? Well, one of the main things is that when you walk into the office, this is what you're greeted with. I don't love looking at the back of all of my monitors and like lights and stuff. It's not super aesthetic. But given my line of work, it is necessary to have the lights and the computers and the filming rig and all of that kind of thing. It's just that I don't want it to be the very first thing I'm greeted with when I come into the room. It's literally walk into the room, visual assault. Another thing I found is that because my window is behind me, I get screen glare in the late afternoon. At the moment, it's notably not so bad because the sun is barely up. But come later in the day, it does get a little bit more difficult to see what's on my screens. Not as bad as it's been previously, but still not ideal. One of the main reasons though is background separation. Because of where my filming stuff is set up versus where my background is, that kind of depth isn't sufficient to give me that kind of nice blurred out background that you get in the professional kind of YouTubing space. I probably should consider myself a professional, but I feel like to give me the kind of look and feel of professionalism, it would be nice to have a bit more separation so that you get that blurring. And I'd also like to just reorganize my shelves because they're a bit of a mess. I would also like to make my cozy corner a little more cozy because, well, right now I can't even sit in it because I have a pin board on my chair. And I'd also like to make better use of my floor space because right now having the desk jut out where it is kind of truncates the room. And as you can see here, it also butts up against the shelves, so I can't really make great use of my shelves in that space. Part of it though is that I am always craving change. So I'm looking forward to changing it up. Just because office organization is my main goal for the week doesn't mean there isn't other stuff happening though. So for instance, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, they are going to be work days. Life still be lifing, have to go to work. But also I do have other goals that I want to work on at the same time. Last week I wrote out my goal laundry list, and while most of them won't be the main focus for the week because the office organization project is the main focus, there are still goals on here that require kind of routine or dedicated work to actually get done. The office organization is more of a project-based goal, so a whole bunch of one-off steps and then you get to an end outcome. Whereas other things like health and well-being goals that require daily or weekly practices, those ones I still have to do as well. Today's main work task is editing the vlog, which only has 5 hours and 2 minutes of footage, so like, it could have been worse. I have a sneaking suspicion that I am not going to hold to my work boundaries for the day based on my new weekly schedule, but it's cool, we're gonna try. Shish Mixer has just told me that it's time for lunch, which I wasn't quite expecting because this is a new schedule for me. Normally my lunch break would be at 1. I've now set it for 12:30 as I kind of like rejigged my weekly schedule, or am attempting to, for Q4 and making the most of my time and making sure that there are gaps from my goals and all of that kind of thing. But currently I'm at 48 minutes and 14 seconds of the vlog edited, and what started off as over 5 hours of footage is now just over 3. So we are making progress. Based on the fact it takes me roughly 45 minutes to an hour to edit one day worth of footage, I foresee me having at least 2.5 hours of editing left to do, but that is an after lunch me problem. I'm very much hoping in terms of the office organization project, I want to start moving my things around in my office this afternoon. So that means that I am going to have to maintain my focus during my next work block to make sure that that gets done in a timely manner. With it being a new quarter, I'm also more excited about getting on with goals that I was already working on, but maybe lost a little bit of motivation and zest for. One of those in particular being my health-related goals and eating more nutritional foods. This doesn't look nutritional, but I promise you it actually is. For lunch this week, we are having an apple. This is massive though. I'm gonna cut it up because I can never eat fruit as a full piece of fruit. I just don't enjoy it. Unless it's like a grape. But anyway, we also have little chocolate pud. That one is made mainly out of eggs, which sounds weird, but I promise you it's actually quite tasty. And a small handful of pretzels, because I like the contrast in the kind of like flavor and texture of this versus the sweet of the other 2 items. So we have sweet and crunchy, sweet and soft, and salty and crunchy. Ta-da! Lunch. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. The Snackle plate was great, I very much enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to having it for the rest of the week. But now it is 2:30, which would be when I would transition from work to goal work, but that also kind of relies on me having done some pre-editing for the vlogs. I didn't get to do that this time around because I didn't know I was going to be changing up my schedule in this way, even though doing vlog editing is definitely a favor I should have been doing for past years. So that does mean that I'm not quite finished. I've done 1 hour and 16 minutes of the editing, but I have a total of 1 hour and 36 minutes. So about 20 more minutes left to edit, which should probably take me maybe like half an hour-ish. And then after that, I can start thinking about rearranging office things. Gotta make sure I do the first priority before I do the fun priority. That one is exporting now, and I foresee it taking a while, so I'm gonna get started on moving stuff. Pretty much any time I try and reorganize my office, I neglect this first very important step, which usually leads to a lot of wasted time in the moving furniture portion as I kind of, move things from one surface to another to try and lighten the load. Essentially everything on my shelves needs to be moved off. I want to move the majority of the stuff on my desk, and for any of the drawers that are moving, I need to move stuff either off them or out of them. I have a bit of free space in this cupboard, so I think I'm going to put a lot of it in here. But before I move it, I feel like I need to take pictures of how it was or something, because this feels like quite a commitment now. The only way this gets done is if I get started though, so it's time to get started. JashiiCorrin has let me know that it is indeed the end of the last work block for the day, or in this case goal work block, and the shelves are looking quite barren apart from JashiiCorrin, and also the lights that I have behind the shelves. These are the lights that I use to add some visual interest to my background, and while I have liked them, I don't think they're quite what I want. In particular, because I have 2 separate sets of shelves, they have this like weird kind of bridge section where it goes over the beam from one to the beam of the other, which essentially creates this really bright spot. And even though I try to like hold this back and give it that separation, it just flops back there. Plus, while I have light strips on this one, and this one, I don't have any on the top shelf or on the shelf at the very bottom. So if I actually get that separation between me and my background, you can really tell that there's no lights at the top. I don't want to just outright get rid of them though, because they are still good lights, even though, you know, I've removed the sticky adhesive and they're currently stuck to my shelves. I'm sure that the stickiness will hold, so I'm gonna hopefully find somewhere else that I can use them that isn't probably in my office, or at least not on my bookshelves. That is not a current me problem though, that is a future me problem, because there are other goals to attend to. In particular, given that it is the end of the workday, the thing that I'm trying to use this quarter to really separate my work time from my personal time is exercise. In quarter 3, I was doing my exercise mainly in the morning, but after a couple of instances of not doing it in the morning and finding that I had a really nice, slow and peaceful start to the day, that's kind of what I'm leaning into for quarter 4. That means that quarter 4 exercise for me is going to be roughly at 5 p.m. every day. I say roughly because things happen, but that means it's time to turn off the lights and get my things together because we're going for a walk. The walk went well and it was a very enjoyable way to keep the streak alive, but now something that is exciting is that I'm getting started on another goal, which is to make 10 new to me recipes across the quarter. I've been finding that my food that I've been making is just getting a little tired, a little stale, not really excited by it, and so the recipe that I'm making this evening is a soba noodle salad. It has been a really long time since I cooked soba noodles. There are instructions on the packet, very helpful ones, like do not eat the ribbon that ties the noodles up. It's always good to know that the manufacturer is looking out for us. But I'm excited to try it, and I hope that it tastes good. Along with the soba noodles, there's also mango, herbs, cucumber, cabbage, edamame, and sauce. So this is what it looks like when you have everything except for the cucumber, and this is what it looks like when you have everything except for the cabbage. We are those people. We like what we like, and we don't want to include the things we don't want to include. I actually quite enjoyed it. I think that it probably needs a couple of adjustments for me to say that it would be like a staple meal. For instance, adding some kind of meat-based protein. I think that like a poached chicken in that would be really nice. But in general, it is one that I would make again, and I'm feeling satiated. For now though, I do need to go and clear off my desk because Monday night is being designated as creativity time. Every Monday night, Vogel has an online games event with his friends, so I'm always left to my own devices, and one of my goals for quarter 4 is to reconnect with my creativity. I've been feeling like I've been in a bit of a creative slump recently, and I thought it'd be nice to explore some other areas of creativity that maybe I don't get to dabble in very often. I figured that one of the best ways to do this was going to be to use Skillshare, who is also the sponsor of today's video. Skillshare has an awesome range of creative classes to pick from, which is why I thought it was perfect for trying to get reconnected with my creativity. They have classes for hobbyists, creative professionals, and everyone in between, which are taught by real talented creatives. For my first dedicated creativity night, I decided to jump into a class on abstract watercolor neurographic art, which is something that I'd honestly never heard about before, so it was cool that through Skillshare I could discover it. I totally threw up my watercolor paper, but I did just put it in the recycling bin, so I'm gonna see if it's okay. Okay, I got it. I did have to practically climb in the bin, but it's all good. Although I picked a watercolor class, they have plenty of lessons in a variety of categories, including art and illustration, animation, photography, graphic design, and more. As said though, the class that I ended up taking was Abstract Watercolor Escape, or Meditative Painting with Neurographic Art and Watercolor Washes. I really appreciated how the class teacher was really encouraging of making it your own, while also clearly demonstrating the line drawing and the painting techniques in an easy to understand way, especially the painting techniques, because I am definitely a paint novice. What I also really liked is that this class was showcasing everything in real time, which made following along just really simple, and I got a completed piece by the end of it. I'll definitely be jumping into more classes, and if you'd like to join me, the first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. I already know that the platform is going to be instrumental in reconnecting with my creativity, and I'd love for you to join me. This is my picture, and although it totally looks like a mess, that's kind of the point, and it was a lot of fun to make. Watercolor isn't something I've explored a lot, and I've never done neurographic art before, so this one was actually quite cool. I especially like all the little connections, like anytime a line crosses over, you round out the corners and turn it into a kind of darker section. It ends up kind of being quite a meditative process, at least the drawing aspect for me. When it came to the watercoloring, I struggled a little bit because I am a bit of a perfectionist, and because I was taking my time with it, it did mean that the water outside of the circles kind of dried, because the idea is that you put down the water outside of the circles first and then go and color the circles in, and where the paint kind of like touches the wet section, it's supposed to bleed. But I maybe took a little too long, so my bleeding wasn't as good as it could be. But as a first first attempt, I'm pretty pleased with it. I don't know which way I like it. Do I like it this way or maybe that way? I think I prefer it this way. Not that it really has an up or a down because it is technically abstract art. I think my personal preference is that way though. Yeah. I just got a really good reminder as to why I don't do a lot of painting. I literally almost picked this up and drank it. No. Much better. Yay, I earned my certificate. Essentially just as an artifact to say I did a creative project. Not gonna lie, those kind of things totally motivate me, and now I want more certificates. It's now nearing 9:30 though, which means my creative time is done. It's time to pack up my desk and start thinking about going to bed. First, I wanted to write out my list of things to do tomorrow, just to make sure that I can hit the ground running, in particular including more office organization tasks. And then I got totally distracted planning our mini moon, which is Vogel and mine's mini honeymoon. We're gonna be going to Queenstown. I'm very excited. It's slightly less mini than I was intended, but we're both really keen to go back. We love Queenstown. For now though, it is past 11 p.m. and thus time for me to go to bed, so good night. Good morning, happy Tuesday. Coming into the office this morning was a little depressing, but also quite exciting. Depressing because my shelves are barren, apart from JashiiCorrin, who will be moved shortly. But exciting because barren shelves means it is furniture rearranging day. That is not going to be happening first thing though, because work still has to happen today, and I have quite a list of stuff that I want to do. Strictly speaking, I'm not actually behind, but I would like to be more ahead than I currently am. Thankfully, the body was like, yeah, I can help you with that, and woke me up at 6 o'clock instead of 7. So I've got an extra hour. Yes, half of that was spent just stuffing around on my phone, but the other half wasn't. I've already got my list and my priorities set for the day, so it's time to get started. Well, it's time to eat breakfast, and then it's time to get started. Because I am apocalyptically excited about getting my office reorganized though, I want to do all of my work tasks as quickly as possible. So what I'm kind of thinking is that I remain focused, get it done, so that then maybe, if I'm lucky, I could spend the last work block of the day, which would be dedicated to work, reorganizing furniture instead. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. We'll see if that happens. We've got one video film though, featuring Side-Eye Jess, and now I just gotta edit it and get it uploaded. We have about 5 minutes left of the work block, and that one is exporting. But more excitingly, it's package day. One of these in particular I've been waiting on for a while, so I'm very excited. The first one's actually related to the office project. I got some new lights so that I can light up my space a little differently compared to the light strips that I am trying to get rid of, or at least remove from my shelves. But the other package has some items that I pre-ordered a while ago and have been patiently, not so patiently, waiting for them to arrive. The first one is this dark green covered notepad, which I just thought was absolutely gorgeous. But I love the key and I love the green. The strap comes off so you don't actually have to have it, you can just have it without. And then on the inside it's just some really good quality notepad paper so I can jot down things. This also comes out so you can reuse the cover, which is quite nice. But even more excitingly, this is a bag. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make this my new journaling bag for when I do journal dates with my friends. It's so beautiful. I'm just a little bit obsessed with it. I love the pom-pom. I'm not usually a pom-pom type person, but it's fluffy and I like it. Can open it up. Comes with 2 straps because you can convert it into a backpack. I'll probably never do that, but I like the idea of it. So you can see we have the connections on the side so that you can have it as like a saddlebag type deal. But there are also connections on the back so that you can turn it into a backpack. As I said, I'll probably just use it as a saddlebag, but I love it. It's the color. It's because it's green. It's gorgeous. And now it matches my green water bottle too. Yay! I'm a bit of a fan of things being matchy-matchy. Just a little bit. Time to get back to work though, because there are things to be done. In particular, next port of call is the podcast. A mere 1-ish hour later, the podcast is exporting, so I just need to make a thumbnail and get that one uploaded. I am definitely on track for being able to use the last work block of the day for goal work, aka office stuff. So hopefully if I can keep this momentum going, we will be able to do that, especially because my barren shelves are making me a little bit sad. That one is uploaded now. JashiiCorrin has told me that it is indeed time for lunch. We are having the snackle plate. We are not getting DoorDash. DoorDash is not aligned with our goals. Plus I'm excited for my snackle plate. But then we have one more work block, which I need to figure out what it is I'm doing because I've actually completed my major work tasks for today in such a timely manner. Who is she? And then office reorganization. I've now done the majority of the work tasks that I had set for myself for the day. So I have done the podcast, gotten that uploaded, made the members only video, gotten that uploaded, set up the live stream for Thursday. Didn't get around to picking a newsletter topic for the week. That's cool. That can be a Friday problem because that's usually when I do it anyway. And I did end up going and adding a couple other bits and pieces to my list, but for right now, for this last work block of the day, it will be a goal work block. And we are going to get the rest of my stuff ready to move because I'm supposed to move all of that yesterday and I didn't get around to it. In terms of actually moving furniture, that is not something that I can do by myself, so I do have to wait for Vogel to be done, but I essentially want to make it so that then as soon as he finishes work, we can get underway with moving furniture pieces. I'm so excited. The printer I'm going to leave in the corner for just now because this set of drawers at least will be staying there. The printer will move, but given the drawers aren't moving, you can stay. The next port of call is probably taking down all of my filming stuff and very gently placing that somewhere safe, which probably means in my bedroom on my bed. Mainly because the spare bedroom already has stuff on it and I don't want to end up competing for space with trying to put like lights and a camera down and such. Gotta make sure I keep the filming stuff safe. Not quite finished packing down the filming setup, still got the microphone to go, but that also requires me to deal with the underdesk cabling mess, which actually, like, down here looks messy, but from the top view it's not the worst thing ever. But because the microphone is connected to the computer and all of the cables that go from other things to the computer all bundled together, I kind of have to do them all at once. But even just removing the camera and light gear, this makes it look so much more open, and this is kind of what I was hoping for when I moved things to this arrangement. Like, it doesn't really feel like it truncates the room quite as much when you don't have that electronic gear standing upright. When it's not there, this feels more open. That's also why I want to have the camera gear set up like against a wall or a window, because it's probably getting set up against this window, which I'm fine with. The window's big enough that I'll still have a view anyways. We're most of the way done with the desk pack down, but I cannot move these screens, so I'm gonna have to ask Vogel to help me with those. I still have a couple things to take out of the office, for instance the cables, my foot stand, my chair doesn't really need to be in here, and neither does my tripod, but I've been filming. According to my new work schedule, at 5 p.m. we would usually go for a walk, but it is hot and 6 minutes to 5, and I don't really feel like leaving the air conditioning of my place right now. Maybe I can convince Vogel to let us go walking after tea. I don't know if he'll let me though. I say let me like he can stop me, but he can't. It's more so I like to walk with him. I talked to Vogel, we've done a compromise, so we're going to move the furniture, then make the dinner, then go for the walk, and then come back and eat the dinner, because the dinner is something that can be chilled. We're making onigiri. I'm very much looking forward to it. But he did just finish work, so it is time to get off my chairs, because I'm technically on 2 separate chairs right now, and actually do what I was supposed to do. I know it'll be worth it, I'm just being lazy. So, I'm gonna take this desk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in this corner. I say we are gonna do that.
We're gonna do that, yeah.
I cannot lift that by myself.
Yep.
But yeah, so this one's going over there, like
Yes.
in the corner. And then these two are going on that wall.
Okay, but
Yeah.
not in the corner.
But yeah, not in the corner.
Okay.
And then the little drawers, one of them staying put, the one in the corner, and then the other two are gonna come over here-ish.
Okay.
But also not in the corner. Cool.
Cool.
Break. Alrighty, light strips, it's time for you guys to come off, which in particular means removing these little guys. we've run into a bit of a snag in that the monitor mount will not move, which isn't ideal because I do not want the monitor to be there, but I cannot get it to move, and neither can Vogel. And I smashed my thumb. So I'm gonna take the hit it till something happens approach, and hopefully this works. Bonk! We've gotten them in mostly the right place. They are not perfect, but they are better than they were. And the desk is notably not in the corner yet because I still need to attach everything else. And we also trialed opening this curtain to see how it would light up the room. But now it is time to go make dinner because dinner won't make itself and I am peckish and we still need to do our walk. What a cutie. Definitely made easier to make because we have a mold. Otherwise the shapes definitely wouldn't be consistent, but for now it is time to go walking. Walking time! Yay! We just ended up doing a little walk because the sun was going down, which made for a very pretty sky, but it also meant we wanted to get back sooner to get on with our evening. Because of that though, we took a different route to usual, and that meant we got to see, different houses, which we kind of like to snoop on. Not like in their house, just the front of their house. And also check out their garden beds, and we saw some really cool looking stuff, which it's just nice that if you go out of your way to do something slightly different, you just kind of end up noticing things more. And I know you can do that in your everyday life, your mindfulness practices and all that, but I don't do that. I did it this evening though, because it was new. I like novelty. For now though, it's time for dinner. We're gonna watch a Stranger Things with that, and then it'll be back to the office to do more organization. I took one of the light strips and I added it underneath our kitchen counter, so now we have a zazzy kitchen counter. Vogel is thrilled, except for the fact that he's trying to do the dishes right now, and I am kind of impeding that.
It does look very cool. I just would like to do the dishes now.
The priority is to get the filming rig set up because I need to be able to film tomorrow, and then get the desk back into the corner where I want it. This is gonna be super fun, especially considering it is almost 9 o'clock at night. Well, I've gotten it to this kind of an arrangement, which I'm pretty happy with, at least the base elements of it. The top part needs proper arranging. And I've noted that I probably want to move my webcam from here to there, but that also means recabling all of this noodle mess. It's not the worst, but it's not fun. And I'm also kind of tempted to upgrade my webcam, so I'm like, do I just upgrade it and then recable it? Maybe. But I do at the very least need to get my computer plugged in today because I need to use it tomorrow. Of course, we can't forget the most important electronic, my speakers. This is where I've gotten to, the end of the night. So the desk is mostly set up, though completely not cable managed or pushed into the corner. All of the noodle mess needs to be dealt with, just not right now. We've put the drawers over here, but I haven't actually put anything on them. Like the printer and the Cricut will live over here. The shelves are in their new spot. We only have Shishmexa on there at the moment, so they need to be populated. And the new cozy corner currently has the printer in it, and the chair isn't pushed in because I haven't pushed the desk in. Feeling pretty good about what I got done today, but definitely still more to be done on that project and other goal areas. In particular, I'm a little bit worried about the Sisterhood of the Traveling Book because we are supposed to swap books this weekend and I'm only that far through. So I've got like a little over a half of this book to go. We'll see if I get it done by the unofficial deadline, and if I don't, hopefully my friends are forgiving. For now though, it is past 11 PM, definitely time to go to bed, so good night. Good morning, happy Wednesday. It was kind of funny coming into the office today and seeing everything rearranged. I know it's not in its final places just yet, but this still gives me a feel for what it's going to look like. I've got my oats, feeling ready for the day. Today is primarily a work day, and probably a work day the whole way through. I have videos to make, I have comments to respond to, and other stuff. I did at least write a list for myself yesterday as to what I want to get done today and set my priority for the day, but there's probably other things I need to add to here. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a lot of time to do office stuff today, mainly because on a Wednesday we have the midweek mafia hangout, which is me and my friends. We get together, hang out, chat, do journaling or creativity stuff sometimes. Always looking forward to that, and very much looking forward to taking my new bag to it. It might be a silly thing to get excited about, but I just think it's really cute and I'm excited to use it. For now though, I need to finish my oats and fill up my water bottle because I forgot to do that when I got my oats, and hydration is important. The workday is definitely underway though. I have just filmed my first video with the new office structure. I wouldn't say setup because it's definitely not set up. I put a plant in the corner because the corner was looking just a little bit sad, but the shelves are still so barren. I do think it didn't look too bad though. I mean, for a non-decorated office. And I even played around with filming with the curtains open and just the natural light. Definitely not my favorite. Probably won't be doing that in future, but I tried it. It's mainly because I don't have any lights set up in the background yet or anything like that. And just getting it to looking kind of nice was going to be difficult. So I'm like, okay, natural light it is. I'll just have to edit a whole bunch of the lighting in post. I'm very excited for getting the desk moved into the corner though, because even with just this corner, in front of the window. It's kind of a little glary. I have gone and closed the curtain here though, so that there wasn't a lot of glare here. But when we have sunnier days where the sun kind of sets over that hill over there, it'll be nice to be able to close this curtain but keep this one open so that I actually still have light in my office. I don't have to sit in a little dark den of solitude. At least that's the idea. For now though, this video is not going to edit itself, so I best keep going with it because it's taking a while. I've gotten to almost 36 minutes of that gone through. I still have a bit more though. Essentially, I'm just going through checking all the A-roll first, or like the talking head section, and then I need to go and put B-roll from the last 13 weeks over the top of it, finding appropriate clips and all of that kind of stuff. That though is a future me problem, because right now I get to pack my new bag to go to my friend's place for our midweek mafia hangout, aka our journaling and creativity and just chill time hangout. Should be good. A most enjoyable evening with my friends. I managed to keep the exercise streak alive by convincing them to come and walk with me around the block. I always appreciate the company. And I also started looking up accommodation for our Korea trip, because organizing our trip to Korea and Singapore, which is happening in January, that is also one of my Q4 goals. The problem is finding a bed big enough for my dad, because he's 6'3". Me at little 5'2" doesn't really need to worry about how long a bed is, but we want to make sure that dad can be comfy. I found some options. I don't know if they're going to work. I need to do a little bit more digging, but for now, I'm going to go upstairs and go to bed. I definitely want to do more of the office project tomorrow, along with getting some work done and having our live stream, so I want to be well rested. Good night. Good morning, happy Thursday. It is freezing today. I mean, it was quite cold yesterday as well, but it wasn't as cold in the morning, so getting out of bed yesterday, not as hard as it was today, but we did it. On the cards for today is some work, some video editing, live stream, but also office organization, and maybe even some work on some other goals. In particular, given that this is the first week of our challenge, oftentimes this is where I put all of my brainstorming steps, or any kind of goal that requires me to do some thinking, maybe generate some ideas. This is when I usually do it. I also try to make sure that in doing that brainstorming, I don't let myself get caught up in that kind of research phase, because if I let it go on too long, I just delay taking action and then nothing gets done. Prepping my overnight oats though, very excited for breakfast. The main research or brainstorming kind of tasks I gave myself for this week were brainstorming exercise ideas, because I want to find new exercise styles that I like, and also brainstorming creativity projects, because the one that I picked this week was really just like a first choice type thing. I want to find other ones that I might be interested in, so I have a kind of smaller selection to pick from rather than having to pick from the entire back catalogue of Skillshare, because they have a lot. I also need to do some research around setting a budget for our Korea trip, and also making sure that I plan some things for my birthday party next week. All of those are those kind of brainstorming, idea finding, research type tasks that I will definitely let balloon out if I'm not vigilant. I normally find just setting myself a very specific thing to do my research on or do my brainstorming about, and then giving myself a timer, that really helps. It kind of just holds me to spending my time in a focused manner, but also not letting it expand out to the point of just not ever getting started on the thing. Because it's all good and well to find ideas for different exercises I want to try, but the aim is to actually try the exercises so I can find ones that I like. For now though, it is time to prep for our live stream, which does definitely mean turning on my camera and probably closing my curtains because it is bright outside. Oh my gosh, it is Q4 and I'm so excited because that means we're into the second round of the Change Your Life Challenge, and I certainly have things that I want to get done. The live stream went well, and now it is time to edit Saturday's video. We have a lot of files to look through. But according to my new weekly schedule, which this part is kind of the same as last quarter, but come 12:30, that's when I'll be having lunch. After lunch, then we're into my goal work blocks. The actual work in those depends on the week, but this week, with the main focus being the office, going to be doing mostly that, but also maybe a couple other tasks too. Lunch is done, we're into goal work blocks now, and I think that the first main task to do, I kind of want to do the recabling of my desk, but in order to do that, I need to get my desk properly set up. That mainly means bringing these boxes over into the office so that I can see where they're going to sit. because I just have a sneaking suspicion that the arrangement that I was using isn't gonna work anymore. The first thing though is to actually just get them all into the office so I can play around with the arrangement that's gonna work. From the drawers over here, I can see that 3 tiers fits underneath the monitors, or essentially one smaller drawer and then one taller one. So a stack like this wouldn't quite fit because that would be like 2 segments and then another 2 segments, like 2 for the medium one and then 1 each for the smaller ones. So I could just make it go longer, or I could put it next to the speaker here, but I don't really want to do that. Honestly, I think this is going to be a trial and error type process. This is what I've got at the moment, and I don't think I'm sold on it. Mainly because it just looks like a lot, and it looks kind of crowded. Previously, all these little modular drawers, I'm pretty sure were stacked 5 high, not 4. This is 4 high because it's like 2 for this one, and then 1 and 2 for those ones. This section is in 3. That part is in 4, so everything's elongated. It's not as compact. I'm not sold. I don't think this works. I'm now wondering if I reinstate these monitor risers. They originally were for using with my monitors, but I've since gotten clamp stands for those. But I do kind of like how this finishes off the drawers, like makes them look like a unit, I guess. And it also means that I'll get some separation between where my monitor finishes and where my little drawers are, effectively just making them a little more compact. That does also mean I'm questioning whether I need as many of these little drawer organizers, and if I still want to keep all of my pens separated in their little rainbow drawers. I do like the rainbow drawers. They were a kind of decorative element on my desk, but I'm kind of thinking I might want something a little different now. Can't tell you for sure what that is just yet, but maybe it's time for a change up. Based on that idea though, I'm trying to think of what would be the most important to have accessible when I'm sitting at my desk. Like when I'm sitting here looking at my desktop region, what do I want to have within my grasp? And honestly, the main thing is the stuff in this drawer. These are like external hard drives, my charger for my watch, a couple notepads and some sticky notes, and also my microphones. Whereas the other stuff I feel like I don't need to have as accessible all the time, and it would get rid of some clutter on my desktop, which I think is what I'm looking for. Plus I just also really like the idea of moving over my lily in a pot to this corner of the desk, the corner that's behind here. I figured that having it there would just add some greenery to the space, which would be nice. Alrighty, this is our next iteration, which I'm definitely not done with and still playing around with. Don't love that these two aren't aligned, so I'd kind of want to move the little shelves over, but that means I need to reposition where the monitor is mounted to the desk, and I can't do that by myself. So I'm probably gonna have to wait for Vogel to get home if I decide that that's the structure I want. But if we just clear everything else off the desk for a second, with the exception of things like the mouse and keyboard, because they're always gonna be on the desk, this is kind of what we end up with. I wanna put like a little plant here, obviously tidy up the cables, because ugh, that's not very attractive. And then that cable that's coming over the top, I'd probably work that around the side or something. But if that was more central, I think I'd be pretty happy with it. I just like the idea of having some greenery on my desk to kind of liven the space up a little. And then mainly having my priority items in these drawers, though I don't love that I can see through the drawers at the back in particular, so maybe I'll put some backing paper over there. Or I could try doing a frosted kind of thing like I've got on this one. Okay, I did a test sitting at my desk to see if the arrangement of the screens I was happy with. I wasn't. They were too flat. I kind of prefer for them to be more of on an angle to each other rather than fully in line with each other, just because of where I sit and what's comfortable for me to view. So the rough arrangement is looking okay, except we're going to move this second screen. We're going to make sure that that mount is behind where these little desk risers are, so that then I can centralize the desk risers, move the speaker over, and then make everything feel a little bit more aligned, compact. Nice. I can't do that until Vogel gets home though, so we're going to focus on getting my drawers the way I want them and my printer set up. Notably haven't put all the drawers in this one yet, but because Shishmexa is gonna live over here now, and her charger isn't quite as flat as the last thing that was here, it does mean that this one has to sit out from the wall slightly. But I'm not actually too worried about that because I'm planning on putting books over here, because usually those books would be on my bookshelf, but this is gonna be my reading corner. So I thought it might be nice to have some books in my reading corner. Maybe a candle or a lamp or something cute. I'm gonna end up getting another book stand thing, but given I don't have a lot of books, they actually fit quite nicely in here. I of course also want a lamp like I mentioned, so I need to make space for that, but for now this is looking cute, except for the fact that I haven't put the drawers in. I'll get to it. In arranging my sets of drawers, I'm really thinking about what makes sense to have where. So for instance, with the printer and the Cricut, I want the printing supplies and the Cricut supplies. I'll probably also put my stationery kind of stuff over here, like stickers and such, and anything kind of like office general stationery related. In this one though, this is going to be my cozy corner, so I'm thinking my headphones will probably stay over here, but other than that, I'm not too sure. I do also need to put a coaster over here because I want to be able to put a hot drink on this while I sit in my cozy chair and read my cozy books, all cozy like. I think I've decided I don't love both of these here because they just seem a little too snug, so I'm gonna move the Cricut off and put it on the shelf and keep the printer on here. Especially because I also need a spot for my office inbox where Vogel likes to drop our receipts and such, just because then they're all collected together, they don't end up on my desk, and then me neglecting them. At least if they're collected together, it's more likely they get processed all at once. In the meantime, something I've been procrastinating doing is cleaning my shelves, so I'm gonna do that. And then put all my boxes out along the bottom shelf, not necessarily loving the fact that I've recently realized since moving things around that that is so dang crooked, but it's fine. I just want to look at it. There's not really a lot I can do about it, so let's just not worry about it. I may or may not have gotten distracted setting up these lights. They are not actually set up, but just plugging them in and turning them on, and I love them. I mean, I did only just plug them in. We'll see how much I love them when I actually get them set up properly. But right now it's just feeling really cozy and cute. Still a mess, but cozy and cute. You can see that this is how it looks like when I've got my new filming angle, which obviously isn't in its final form because the desk isn't where it's supposed to be and everything is a mess. But I like how it lights up the corner. I think it looks pretty cute. Turning those off though. Oh, such a slow dim, so nice. But it is almost time to get ready to go out because it is date night. Yay, we are continuing with date nights in Q4, even though they are not specifically a goal, they were just so much fun from Q3, so we are keeping up with them. But I do want to do at least one of my brainstorming stages for a different goal, whether that's the fitness or the creativity. I think I'm going to do the creativity because that one might just be easier. I'm just going to honestly scroll through Skillshare and pick out all the ones that look interesting and save them to a bookmarks folder or a wish list or something. So as it turns out, you can press on the little bookmarks and then it'll add it to a saved list. So nice and easy. I ended up adding 8 to my list, but now it's time for date night. Really good. Dinner was super tasty. I got a gnocchi, which I don't typically get because usually if I'm gonna have pasta, I have wheat-based pasta, but it was actually really good and I liked the variety of mushrooms. It was just really rich. So now I'm kind of like, ugh. But I haven't done my exercise for the day, so we're getting on the walking pad because we are keeping the streak alive. The streak is alive, the walk is done. It is time to move the monitor arm. Yeah, in the end we effectively decided that we couldn't get the little drawers to work or the desk risers, but it does make for a nice, clear, open desktop space. I mean, apart from the clutter, but you know, details. Also moved over the webcam, so it's on this screen now instead of that screen. And did the cable management, at least for the top part of the desk, so that's looking pretty good. We will just ignore everything down there. For now though, I am completely zonked and it is well and truly time to go to bed. So, good night. Good morning. Happy Friday. On the cards for today is, first and foremost, work. Because we have a video release coming out tomorrow and I am not in a place where I feel super confident about getting it done within the boundaries of my new work schedule. I'm gonna get it done. It's just whether I get it done in the timely manner that I'm hoping for. We will see. I'm also starting to get a little bit, I don't want to say anxious, but maybe nervous that I'm not going to get the office organized to the point that I want to by the end of this week. Especially because tomorrow we're planning the book club. The full day is pretty much dedicated to planning the book club and how that's going to run next year. And then on Sunday I have an outing with my family and just meal prep stuff to do for the week ahead. So some time is taken out of that day that could be dedicated towards getting the office set up. And especially now as I've decided that I'm not going to be having my little plastic drawers and whatnot. First of all, I need to figure out where to put them. And secondly, I need to figure out how to store all the stuff that was in them. So yeah, that is not a right now me problem. Right now my problem is to finish editing my video. It's really just going through the video and adding all the B-roll over the top, all of the little clips from the past 13 weeks, But that's where the tricky part is, because there's like 5,000 clips to go through. So finding the right one is a little bit of a slog. It's cool, I can do it. I just need to do it in a timely manner because I want to get on to other things. Yay, that one is exporting. Now I need to figure out a thumbnail, but I got it done before lunchtime. Lunch is in 32 minutes, so hopefully I can get a thumbnail done in 32 minutes. We will see. Shishmexer has indicated that it is indeed time for lunch. I got that video uploaded. It is ready for release. Huzzah! Very excited for my Snackle play because I'm quite peckish. But the rest of the day is dedicated to goal work, so I'm going to probably start recabling my desk. I would like the cable management to be tweet. Not tweet in the sense of like, oh no, strain on the cable, but more so, oh yay, I can't see it anymore. That would be nice. Then once that's done, I can actually put the desk where it belongs, in the corner, and that will help me reposition my screens so I don't have glare behind them from the window. It's giving me some eye strain and I don't like that part. The last time I had to cable manage my desk, I procrastinated on it for roughly a year, so I'm hoping to get this one done in a much more timely manner. I have a sneaking suspicion that my cable management trays aren't in the ideal spots, but we're gonna make do with what we've got, hopefully, because I really don't want to have to reposition where they were. That requires drilling into the desk, which I'm not really like all that keen on. I decided to start with all of the cables in this kind of section, so just tucking them to the back to make sure they're okay. This one's kind of tricky because obviously it plugs into the side of the camera, so there's only so much I can do with that. For some reason I had the cable for the microphone in front of the stand for the light. Wasn't very sensible. Now though, it is under the desk time. Now as I'm under here, I think I might need to move the desk before I can do the cabling, because otherwise I don't know how long the cables have to be. Alrighty, the desk is now in the corner that it shall stay in. Originally we were going to have it so the edge actually touched the wall, but it's actually a little bit better with a gap. Mainly because if I try and close the curtain gets stuck on the lights and the back of the camera mount if I have it flush with the wall, which in the long term will bother me more than just having it slightly removed from the wall. Plus it also means if I align my cozy chair to be in line with that, I can actually recline my cozy chair, which is very pleasant. Alrighty, back to the noodle mess. It's been half an hour. I am making progress, but I hate this part. So far I've gotten at least most of the cables from my filming setup into this tube, which, I mean, from this angle doesn't look great, but when you're standing up, it doesn't really look all that bad. Like, I can't see it from the top of the desk, let's put it that way. But now the real trick is getting all of those power cords plugged into the power board, which is currently in the cable tray. You can't really sit up straight under here. Sometimes I wish I was shorter. Just a tiny break and then I'll get back to it. Well, this is my current view. I have done this box of mess, which again from this angle looks awful, and I've done that box of mess. Now I just need to deal with all this. I just need to keep reminding myself that it'll be worth it when it's done. Progress. And despite the fact that Vogel says that it looks fine, I disagree. It needs more work. I know it's not a big deal, but I just don't like it looking messy. If we could go to a completely cordless system, I'd be for it. I don't have the funds for that though, so I'll just deal with the noodle mess by eliminating it. It only took 2.5 hours, but it's good enough. Or at least it's certainly a lot better than it was. Now to put the rest of everything back together so I can actually get everything else sorted. I decided to dismantle the little rainbow drawers because honestly most of the time when I go looking for a pen in one of those drawers, I'm looking for a pen type, not always a pen color, which often just led to me opening up all the drawers and like pulling out all the dot markers that I needed or all of the Statler Tri Plus fine liners. So I think it makes more sense, at least with how I'm using them nowadays, to just store them in their pen collections. In terms of what I'm actually going to do with the drawers, I'm tempted to make a kind of functional space in the closet, maybe on this shelf, but designate that corner to all of the drawers and storing all of the functional things. I might play around with it, see how it looks. That is a future me problem though, because for now it's time to go for a walk to keep the streak alive. Walk done, very pleasant, which means it's now time for evening activities, aka having some dinner and then probably doing more stuff in the office. I know Vogel needs to recable his desk because it is a noodle mess, so he's going to be mainly working on that, whereas I might work on just trying to get some organization going. Buggle is making good progress on his desk. We found one cable that is a problem because it's a little bit short, so we can't actually put it into the cable tray. But otherwise, much neater than the noodle mess from before. Like, still like a noodle mess because cables be noodling, but much better. The current problem I'm trying to solve though is where to store my pens. Because previously they were being stored in here, but I've gone and moved all of the little plastic drawers in there. And I know I'll have a bit more space once I move these journals out of here, but I don't know quite if I want to store the pens in this location. I know I definitely don't want to store them on the shelf because they're not really the kind of things I want to display. But figuring that out might be a later me problem. Okay, actually, I think I'll just stash most of them down here for now. And then for the Tombos, I think I'll put them a little bit more accessible. There we go, that definitely counts. Much more accessible. Like, right next door. But in terms of getting them out, they are actually more accessible. I know everything still looks a mess, but I'm actually really pleased with where we got to today. Even though the desk is messy, it's actually set up in the way that I want it to be. And I got my little plant and my little spooky friend, and it's just, oh, makes my heart happy. But there is definitely still more to be done. I think I'm going to be able to do a little bit of it in the morning tomorrow, because tomorrow we're planning the book club. The majority of the day is dedicated to that. So once I go pick up my friends, will not be office time. Certainly the possibility of doing other goal work, but not office goal work. For now though, it is 10:40 and definitely time to get into bed. I am sleepy and I would like to get a good night's rest, so good night. Good morning, happy Saturday. I have awoken to the reminder that I still haven't put my laundry away, and I probably won't do it until a little bit later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, to be completely honest. On the cards for today, we have the book club planning. Very excited for that. But I also do want to do a little bit of tidying up in the office before we get too underway with that. And I also want to do a little bit of vlog editing to help future Jess out, so that when it comes to Monday and she has one less block to do editing in because of her new weekly schedule, she can actually stick to the weekly schedule and get some goal time in. We like doing future us a favor. They always appreciate it. I'm still getting used to coming in here and having the arrangement be completely different, and not loving the fact that everything is still a mess, but that's okay. We can remedy this. We have the technology. For now though, I just wanted to grab my water bottle because I need to have some breakfast and a drink of water, not just having water for breakfast. That'd be kind of sad. Also got to make sure I keep track on my checklist of the things that are getting done, because keeping track of our progress is a very important part of the challenge. Future Jess has been assisted. We have edited all of the Monday footage. There's still, Tuesday through to now and beyond to go, but still, this is helpful. For now, I want to do an office task. I just don't know what it is yet. Maybe finding somewhere for my tripod to live would actually be a good idea, because the middle of the floor, not an ideal location. I am still using it at the moment to do filming for the week and whatnot, but having somewhere for it to live would be nice. I was thinking that it could possibly sit in the corner if it's small enough, but I was also thinking about using this spot for a plant. I don't know yet though. I do quite like having plants in my office, even if my lily is looking a little bit sad. There we go, that's exactly what the lily needed. It looks much better now. Okay, no, I should probably take better care of the lily, but I do think that Lego Sapien's pretty cute. The tripod does appear to be short enough to store in that corner if I want to, or I have previously been compacting it and storing it in the corner in here, but I'm always worried it's going to fall back into the depth of the closet and not be easy to retrieve. I also have to figure out what I'm going to do with my art cart, and bringing that back into the office, I think I might retire it for now. There just doesn't really seem to be a good spot for it to live, because sure, I could try and shove it between the chair and my desk, but then my chair would be kind of jam-packed into that corner. I don't really love the idea of that. And I could have it kind of like free-floating in the middle of the floor if I wanted to, but then it would just get in the way and it's not super rollable over carpet. Plus, outside of the top shelf, I haven't found it to be that useful, or like the annoyance of it being an immovable object is not being outweighed by the potential benefits of having it. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of it, like throw it away or donate it or anything like that. I think it's still worth keeping. I just don't think I need it in my office right now. So I might put it into storage and find somewhere else for the pieces on there to live. I'm thinking I might just take everything off it and find space in the drawers to store this stuff, because I know for a fact that I'm not utilizing my drawer space as effectively as I could be. That is going to be a future me problem, because right now we need to get our stuff together because we need to go pick up our friends. Yeah, we all got separate orders from separate delivery apps, so now all 3 of them have rocked up at exactly the same time. I'm excited for our food, but like, choices. We had a very successful planning day. We have planned how the book club's gonna operate for next year. That one feels really good to have locked in. And we also planned a new Year of Google Reading Challenge. We haven't sorted all of the prompts for that one, but we've only got like 4 or 5 of them left. We like to do 2 prompts per month so that people have choice. It's like you pick one or the other. I mean, you can do both if you want to, but you don't have to. So stay tuned to hear more about that reading challenge and also the book club for next year. Of course, we do still have the reading challenge from this year and the book club from this year, so you're more than welcome to join early if you want. There's a link in the description box below to where all of that is hosted over in our reading community. But I'm quite excited for the small changes that we're making to how the book club's going to be running. They're not major changes or anything like that, but just stuff that I'm excited about. For now though, I'm picking up Vogel from his friend's house because he went and had a friend gaming date with his mate, and then we'll be going home so that hopefully I can go to bed because I'm really, really tired. Today was supposed to be the day that we did our Sisterhood of the Traveling Book swap over, but 2 of us have not finished our books. I'm only like halfway through A Court of Mist and Fury, and while I am really enjoying it, I haven't been prioritizing doing my annotations, so I think that is going to be a focus for me for next week, getting that one wrapped up, because I would like to get it to Rachel, because she's the person I'm passing it on to, by the end of next week. I'm also going to be planning my birthday party next week, so that's going to be something I'll be focusing on as well. In more pressing news though, tomorrow I need to get my office finished, or like soft finished. I never like to call a project like that finished because I feel like I never am finished. My perfectionist brain doesn't let me ever really call a project like that finished. I'm always kind of tweaking or changing or adjusting ever so slightly. So if I call it soft finished, it's essentially like getting it to a point where I feel like I can step away and there's nothing that has to be done. So I'm hoping that by the end of tomorrow, I can get it to a soft finished point, even if not perfectly 100%ly finished. Buggle's friend also got me a cutie little Pokemon from Japan. What a sweetie. I think I do have a little bit of time to make some progress on my book, so I'm gonna do a bit of reading, but I should probably make some space on the bed in order to do that, which really just means taking all of my clean clothes and chucking them straight back into the laundry basket. Because my dirty clothes are taking up residence in this corner. Because sometimes it just be like that. Good morning, happy Sunday. We are starting off the day by writing a task list because despite writing one yesterday, I didn't really use it and thus felt a little bit discombobulated. Although the book club planning went really well yesterday, and that was kind of the dedicated main task for the entire of yesterday, I need to get this office in such a way that I can do things in here. That's not to say it's particularly bad at the moment, it's more so just that things aren't set up, I have things in my way, so I want to be able to have like a clear desk space to do any and all work I need to do. I want to have enough stuff on the shelves that it doesn't look like somebody robbed me, and I also want to have space in my closet so that I can store the other stuff that I typically like to keep out of sight. That is going to be my main focus for this morning because in the afternoon we are going to high tea with my family. Very excited for that, should be good. And I also have to think about possibly doing some meal prep for next week. Honestly, I'm very tempted just to do Snackle Plate and overnight oats again because it was easy and I enjoyed it. I think I'm going to start with the journals because at least if I get those out, then I have space in the closet to store the things I want to. So far I've only put out the journals that have a decorative spine, and I've got all the ones that have a blank spine in the closet still. I guess I might put them up on this shelf, I'm just not too sure yet. And notably I've been moving my lights around just to see how I like them. I think I like this one. I'm not sure about how I'm gonna place that one because the cable isn't that long and it's hard to see, but I have plugged it in down there, so maybe I take it out of this port and put it in a different one. I do technically have a plug behind that box, but I didn't really want to plug anything into it, mainly because you'll see it in my footage. Like when I'm filming with this camera, you would definitely be able to see it, so I'm not really all that keen to plug stuff into it. But maybe if I put it in the bottom port. We're also just ignoring the fact that the plug is definitely crooked and it will bother me. So, yeah, just ignoring it. I'm gonna take pause from the journal rearranging just because I'm not too sure exactly where I want them to go, but something I think would be really good is getting this art cart out of my way, which means reorganizing my drawers, which probably means pulling everything out of the drawers to start with. This is gonna be fun. It'll be good when it's done. The drawers have been mostly organized. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I still have way too much stuff on my desk. But right now, I do need to go and clean off the top two shelves because while I did the easy to reach ones down the bottom, I haven't done the ones that are a little bit more difficult for me to reach. That's okay, that's why I keep a step stool in my office. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna put some journals up here, but I'm not gonna put the full rainbow, I'm just gonna take out a section. Essentially making something similar to this, just with the plain covers. We're getting there. Definitely not perfect yet, but now other things to do. Because family has arrived and we're going for high tea. Lunch was really tasty and it was really nice time just spending time with the fam. We were talking about our upcoming kind of activities together, like Christmas and going to Korea in January for brother's wedding. Very excited, should be good. But now, Vogel and I need to go do some groceries because we don't have any food in the house, we're gonna die. Okay, it's not that bad. But then it'll be back into the office to just finish things up, to get to my soft finish. In terms of meal prepping for next week, I've just decided I'm doing overnight oats, which I'm always excited about overnight oats, so that one's not a problem. And I'm just going to do another snackle plate, but instead of eggy pudding, I'm going to have apple oaty muffins because I already have them made. They're in the freezer, they're good for me, and they're tasty. So that's just easy. One of the things that I find difficult with meal prep on Sunday is that Sunday is usually an outing day, like we're doing something, so I'm never all that inclined to also meal prep. Something for me to figure out later. Shopping done, I'm back in the office and I'm kind of thinking like, what is the minimum number of steps I need to take to get this office to its soft finish? After 1 or maybe 3 YouTube videos though, this is where the office has gotten to. I'm feeling pretty good about the general arrangement and it's not necessarily done, but it is looking a lot more complete than it was a couple of days ago. Also, look at how much floor space I have. Like, let's just ignore the fact that it definitely needs a vacuum. That'll be the next port of call. But there's so much space for activities. So much space. One of the things I actually really enjoyed the other day is that when Vogel was doing his recabling and I was in here just, sorting things out and whatnot, we had the music going, I was dancing around, having a great time, because I can do that, because I have floor space to do that. I love that I can sit here in my chair and have my nice lights on. The final positioning of this one in particular is definitely not final. It's probably going to get moved. And you can see the cable running down here, which needs to be cable managed, but because that's not its final resting place, I'm not moving it just yet. But I like that it gives this kind of like soft glow to my office, which is nice. And I can sit here in my chair, read my book. And even more importantly, I can actually recline the chair the full way, like it touches the wall here, but I can recline it and have I'll just lounge and chill out and relax, which was definitely something I wanted this office to feel like. I could come in here, I can get my work done, be productive, but I can also just chill. And I've got my little reading space set up here, so I've got my books and probably put my iPad here too if I want to, and I've got my headphones in the top drawer so I can listen to an audiobook or whatever. It's just kind of nice. For now though, I have not really paid a lot of attention to the rest of my priorities list for the week, so let's go see what else there is to do. So we have brainstorming exercise ideas. That'll be an easy one to do. Deep vacuuming the office, I kind of half did it, but as noted by the floor state, definitely need to vacuum again. Setting up office items has pretty much happened, or at least the soft setup that I've got, because I probably need to do some planning of the decor and then getting the decor. That's not going to happen this week though, because now it's past 6 p.m. Recabling my desk, that one has happened, so we can check that off. And brainstorming creativity projects, I mainly did by just going through the Skillshare lessons and tagging all the ones I wanted, but I'm probably going to write a list of those. The main ones are brainstorming Vlogmas ideas for the couple of slots that I have left on the Vlogmas schedule. Not that the schedule's really solidified, I still need to assign things to days, but I need a couple more ideas that I'm sold on to put in there. And then the exercise ideas from before, that one would be good to write down. And also it says plan birthday party food, that one's going to be kind of a brainstorm as well, because next week is when I'm going to be solidifying what I'm going to be providing. Because next week is my birthday. Not the whole week, just one day of it, but you get the idea. Those brainstorms are looking pretty good. I'm not 100% happy with them, but it is still something. For now though, I need to go and think about doing something for dinner, because it is past 7 o'clock and I'm hungry. Due to general laziness, I made poor dinner choices. It was tasty, but not good for me. And now it is time to walk, because we must keep the streak alive. Did my walk and now back into the office. So cozy, so nice. The real reason I'm upstairs though is to write my priorities list for next week so I can hit the ground running, make sure I know what my goal actions are going to be, and just make the most of the time I have. But once that's done, I'm going to go downstairs, watch an episode of Stranger Things with Vogel, and then probably go to bed. I'm feeling quite good about where we got the office to this week, even though it's not 100% done, not 100% finished, not a perfect finish. I oftentimes find that to make the perfectionist in me a little bit more chill, just calling it a soft finish, just kind of trick myself into the idea that this is enough for now. It's okay that it's not perfect. Because I do definitely want to do some redecorating in here, just not right now. Time for me to get on with my late evening / end of week activities though, so now for something completely different. Which usually leads to a lot of wasted time in the moving furniture. I don't have my keys. This is all for show. I don't even have my keys. Here we go. Oh. Sorry. Scared myself. I thought there was a bug on my screen, but it's just my microphone working. Not a super flattering angle. Good morning. Happy No, it is not. Saturday. I know everything still looks a mess, but I'm actually really pleased. Wow, she's killing it today. I'm feeling really good about the new setup of my office. It's not 100% done yet. There is still some work to go, but I love that I have these functional spaces built in and also other places where I can just be really cozy and chill. As I said, it's not 100% yet, but I am on my way. Once I do get it completely finished though, let me know if you want a full office tour, because I'd be happy to walk you through it. But next week, rather than focusing on the office, I'm going to be paying attention to two other goals I have. One of them being more for fun and the other one being much more for productivity and work. If you want to see how I get on with those, be sure to subscribe. But more importantly, if you want to change your life over the next 3 months with us, then we would love to have you as part of the Change Your Life Challenge. You don't have to be working on a laundry list of goals like I am. You can just pick one thing and dedicate the next 3 months to it. And to find out more about that challenge and how to get involved, this is the next video to check out. It was really inspiring to hear how people who took up the challenge last time really genuinely made positive impact in their life, and I want you to get to the end of the year being able to celebrate progress you're proud of too. As said, we would love to have you with us, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.